All right, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that if rates come down, which a lot of people have been talking about the rest of this year, I think that is going to be bad for buyers. It's going to cause a rush of buyers to come into the market and drive prices way up. I'll get into that a little bit more in just a minute, but first I want to tell you two quick stories about what's going on right now, one from the seller side and one for the buyer side in this current market. After that, we're going to go through the numbers really quick in the data over drama market update, and then at the very end, I'm going to give you a quick snapshot as to what's going on right now in June. I'm Jeff Valentino. I love helping people buy and sell real estate. If that's you, my contact information is below. All right, so the first transaction I want to tell you about is where I'm representing a seller. We had a nice house, went on the market, properly priced, properly marketed. We got multiple offers in the first weekend, as you would probably expect, is what I've been talking about. But here's where the difference is. Sellers have a lot of information. They have a lot of offers to choose from. And this is why who you work with matters so much, because you would not believe some of the offers that I had to submit to my seller. I had an agent text me, hey, here's our offer, would your seller be interested in? It's kind of ridiculous. Others without paperwork or offers even filled out the right way. No proof of financing, just really random, unprofessional items that really kind of knocked offers down a peg before we even got to see any of the price or terms. After that, because the seller had so much information, a lot of offers were kind of in a tight range. The seller was smart. He had questions. He said, who submitted this? What do you know about the agent? What lender are they using? Do you know about the lender? What type of financing? He wanted information really detailed on all of these offers so he can make a good decision. And so when these agents are submitting offers by text or incomplete or without all the terms filled out, they're really putting their clients at a disadvantage before we even start the process. So that's one reason why it's really, really important to understand who you're working with and that they have a plan to represent you the right way. The second one I'll tell you is though I was representing the buyers. And this is also shows why it's so important on who you work with. Now I am fortunate enough to have a really good track record. I had worked with the listing agent before. They know the details. They know how I work. They know the other parts of my team and how we make sure things get from contract to close the right way. But even more important than that, I'm able to highlight my track record to the listing agents when I'm representing a buyer. So not only do they have a solid plan of action of look, here's how we're going to present your offer. Here's the story we're going to tell about your offer. But also here's the track record that I can show the listing agent that I have. Of well over 30 deals in the last year, I've closed them all on time. We had one snag on a new construction home. But other than that, I'm able to show them that and they're able to verify that in the MLS even if they want to. Not only my production, but also on my track record. So again, this market, when it's so chaotic, it's so important that you have an idea and a plan of who you're working with. Hey, I hope that's me. I'm not bragging about that. I'm sort of applying for a job here. I want to be the guy that you call when you need help with real estate. Anyway, let's get on to the market update. If you've seen these before, you know we use supply and demand a lot. Not only to know where the market is right now, but also to kind of see the trends of where the market's heading in the future. So first, let's take a look at the supply numbers. And actually, before I get into that, it's worth mentioning that Winston-Salem, part of the triad, was just named the 13th hottest real estate market in the country. Yes, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, among the names of Austin, Raleigh, Charlotte, Nashville, different things like that. Winston-Salem named by Bankrate the 13th hottest real estate market in the country. So of course, that's going to have some bearing on these numbers. But again, let's take a look at the supply numbers really quick. The whole triad MLS, so Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, all the surrounding area, saw 1,893 closed transactions in May. Now, the important thing to know about this number is that is about a 17% drop from where it was in May of 2022. That's important because it points to just an overall lack of supply, and that is what's driving the vast majority of fewer sales. Many homes are still getting multiple offers, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. But the first supply number indicator that we need to look at is total closed sales. That's down about 17% from this same time last year. A bigger indicator on where the market's at right now that we might look into where it's going is the total number of new listings. This number is about 20% lower than it was in May of 2022. Again, if you're seeing, when you're looking through Zillow or Redfin, wherever you're looking at homes, you're seeing just not a lot of listings. You're not imagining that. There are just quite a few less homes, about 20% as a matter of fact, than this same time last year. Typically, we see the peak of new listings in May and June of the year, and then they steadily decline, as you can see on the graph, over the rest of the year. So we had our big surge through spring and summer. We've about peaked at new listings, and they tend to trail off through the rest of the year from here. So no, inventory is probably not going to get better the rest of the year. This puts more pressure on buyers because of, again, that lack of supply. Speaking of supply, let's talk about total month supply of homes. And I wanted to show you this on a 10-year graph because even though this number ticked up slightly last month, it's still historically very low. We're well under 1.5 months of inventory, which is extremely extremely favorable towards sellers. Even back in 2019, when we're at a seller's market, we're about half the inventory that we were then. So that just gives you an idea, and you can see back, even going back the 10 years of where we need to go to be at a balanced market. We need much more supply. We need more inventory. And these supply numbers are why I'm saying that an interest rate drop would be bad for buyers. If the rates come down a big chunk, as people are kind of saying that they may do the rest of the year, that's going to flood the market with more buyers. And if we already know we've seen our peak of new listings, that's going to put more pressure on existing homes. That's going to drive prices up. And I think overall, it's going to be worse for buyers. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Am I crazy? Tell me what you think. I mean, do you remember the chaos that was going on when rates were at 3%? It was nuts, but let's take a look at the demand numbers. So the first thing I want to show on the demand numbers is the average sales price. We see we've ticked up again on the average sales price. This says there's a lot of demand in the market. We're still at about 100% list price to sales price ratio, but we're almost back at the peak average sales price of where we were in the summer of 2022 when that was just pure craziness, but we're seeing that on fewer sales. This says again that buyers just have fewer homes to look at, so there's more competition on fewer homes, so that is driving prices up. Even though the economics are not as favorable for buyers as they were in 2022, that sheer demand is driving prices up. Now here's an interesting one, the days on market. That stayed flat again at 8 days on average, and here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing one of two camps. We see really nice move-in ready homes in desirable areas get a ton of offers in the first 2 or 3 days, or we're seeing homes that kind of languish on the market a little bit longer to kind of get to that 8 days on market average. So here's a buyer tip. If you're looking for a deal, if you're looking to get at or under list price, start looking at homes that have been on the market for about 14 or more days. Maybe the house is not quite move-in ready, it needs some work. Maybe the seller overpriced it to start out with. Maybe it just wasn't marketed properly. But given all this information, if you see a house on the market for 2 weeks plus, you know and I know there's something's not right? Because we see them come off and on so quickly. So if there's a chance for a deal in this market, it's looking at those homes that have been on the market for 14 plus days. So that's kind of where we were in May and kind of points to where we're heading as we go into June. But I want to give you some real numbers for this first week of June. This first 7 days market snapshot that we'll put up here. We're going to see that homes going under contract are outpacing new listings. The entire Triad MLS saw 73 new listings come on the market that first week of June, but we had over 80 go under contract in that same amount of time. So we're seeing homes getting bought faster than they're coming on the market. This does not give us a chance to build any inventory. As a matter of fact, it does the opposite. It depletes inventory further and points to prices continuing to rise and the market really favoring sellers. And I'm taking my own advice on this. So it's like so many people I've seen wait years. I'm going to wait for this or that to happen. Don't do that. Here's my advice. Get pre-qualified, know your financing, look at the numbers. If you like the house and the numbers make sense, buy the house. If you're a buyer, put your best foot forward, buy the house. I know prices are high. I know rates are up. I know those things. But with the dynamics we have going on in the Triad right now, if you're waiting for prices to come down like you have the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, I think you're going to be waiting longer. Still, I don't see anything that's indicating that that's going to happen right now. So again, don't stress yourself and go over your budget or max your budget out even. But if the numbers make sense and the house fits, I think you should buy the house. If you're selling, have a solid marketing plan, price your home correctly, increase your curb appeal, do the little things right, and market it properly, and you will get offers on your house. If you need help buying or selling real estate anywhere in the Triad, I'd love to be a resource for you. You can reach out to me directly at jeff@govalentino.com. Thanks.